Jain friends, my name is Pradeep Elawat. Today I am here in front of you to teach a very important subject, that is geography. So in this lecture we are going to discuss a very important subject, geography, and I am going to cover this geography in 120 hours. Now along with this geography, I am also going to discuss another subject, that is ecology and environment. What is the name of the subject, my dear friend? Ecology and environment. The name of this subject is ecology and environment. Now apart from these two subjects, I am also going to discuss another subject, that is disaster management. So I am also going to discuss disaster management. When you see the syllabus of the mains paper of UPSC, geography comes under paper 1, and these two subjects, that is ecology and environment and your disaster management, these two topics comes under paper 3. Now why paper 3 I am going to discuss? Because whatever you studied in ecology and environment, the base you required in ecology and environment comes from geography. So that's why I am also going to discuss this ecology and environment. Now why disaster management? Now when I teach you the landslide, along with this landslide I am also going to discuss the landslide disaster management. When I teach you the volcano, I am also going to discuss the volcano disaster management. When I teach you the earthquake, so along this earthquake, I am also going to discuss the earthquake disaster management. So my dear friend, in this way, I am going to cover this topic, disaster management. Fine. Now if I ask you a very simple questions, how many questions you can expect from geography and ecology and environment? So remember my dear friend, if I combine both geography plus your ecology and environment, so you will find around 20 to 25 question. You will find easily around 20 to 25 question in your prelims paper. This year in 2022, more than 100 my student clears the prelims, who personally message me. Now how this 20 to 25 question you can expect from these two topics? Because you know agriculture is also a part of the geography. So I'm going to discuss this agriculture in geography. And you know about the export processing zones. So these topics I'm also going to discuss in detail in geography. Now apart from this, the most important thing is mapping. Maximum students are having problem in mapping. So do not worry, I will make a separate playlist. For you people, so that you will feel comfortable in mapping. So when you sit in a prelims paper, all questions you can solve very easily. That's my promise. So just trust on me, just believe on me. So I'm going to cover all these things in a detailed manner, so that you peoples can easily solve this 20 to 25 questions. So you easily solve 20 to 25 questions. And you know very well what is the weightage of one question. The weightage of one question is 2 marks. So suppose you attempt 25 questions, so 25 into 2 is nothing but 50 marks. So you can score more marks when you study in such a way. Fine. Now apart from this, let us start with the syllabus. But before discussing the syllabus, some student messaged me yesterday, sir, which atlas I should buy. So my dear friend, there are so many atlas available in the market. For example, this is the the Orient Black Swan School Atlas. This is the first one. If you want to buy, you can buy this, but I will not recommend this. If you want to buy Oxford School Atlas, if you want to buy this, you can buy, but I will not recommend this. I will recommend this. that is your Oxford Student Atlas for India, which is red in color. Now why I am going to recommend in every batches about this atlas, because what is the beauty of this atlas? When you open on, for example, I open the map of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand. So one side you will find the physical map, on the other side you will find the political map, and whatever the important things are given. For example, Taj Mahal is here. For example, if there is any special or important lake, you will find on the corner of this page. Fine. So that's why I recommend this. So it becomes very easy for me and very easy for you people to, if you follow this. So if I suppose I told you to open page number 44, so same page number you can open on your this red color student atlas. So I will recommend you to please purchase this. So I will tell you the later what are the benefits of purchasing this red color school atlas. Agree? Now let us see the syllabus. What is mentioned in the syllabus? When you read the main syllabus, it is mentioned salient feature of world physical geography. Now if I ask you in a very simple way, what is the meaning of the world physical geography? Means we are going to study about the earth, and what is available on the earth? We have the mountains, we have the rivers, we have the oceans, we have to study the climate also. So all these things we are going to discuss in a very detailed manner. But you will say, sir, some part comes under geomorphology, some part comes under oceanography, some part comes under climatology. Yes, we are going to discuss this one, but UPSC did not mention these things separately. UPSC mentioned only one thing, that is a world physical geography. Now if I open this word now, world physical geography means we are going to discuss what? That is your geomorphology in detail. So we are going to discuss geomorphology, we are going to discuss climatology, we are going to discuss oceanography. And remember my dear friend, these three topics, that is your geomorphology, climatology and oceanography, these three topics are nothing but your 50% of the syllabus. Nothing but your 50% of the syllabus. But UPSC did not mention geomorphology separately, climatology separately, oceanography separately. But you will find question from the geomorphology part, a very technical part. You will find question from the climatology. You will also find the question from the oceanography. So I am going to discuss all these things in a very detailed manner. Now this is Brahmaputra river. We will discuss these things later. Now this is our beautiful map of India. When you see the map of India, you will find in the upper part you will find the Himalaya range. Then we have a Great Plains of India, then we have a Peninsular Plateau, then we have a western coast, then we have a eastern coast. Now if I ask you, suppose you are living in Delhi, and right now summer is going on. So in summers you want to go upward or you want to go downward? Obviously you want to go upward, because temperature is very less when you go to the Kasol, when you go to the Himachal Pradesh, when you go to the Manali. So what happens? Temperature is very less. So can I say with height? Can I use this word? With height temperature changes. With height temperature changes. So I am going to discuss these technical things in a very detailed manner. Now apart from this, if I ask you what is the color of the soil, what is the color of the soil in Jammu and Kashmir, what is the color of the soil in Malwa Plateau, ठीक है, Malwa Plateau, what is the color of the soil in Himachal Pradesh. So all these things we are going to discuss in a very detailed manner. So these salient features are also going to cover in this lectures. Now when you read the next part of this syllabus, which is mentioned in the UPSC official website syllabus, that is the distribution of key natural resources. Now if you see this natural resources, there are so many natural resources. Now if you study all the natural resources of the world, so your syllabus will goes behind 500 hours. So it is impossible to cover all the natural resources. For example, coal world में कहाँ पे मिलता है? Coal in UK, coal in Germany, iron ore in UK or iron ore in Germany. So the topic will become very, very difficult. So for such area, you have to only focus on India and just trust on me and just believe on me. If you see the past 8 to 10 years questions paper, no questions came from the outside India. वो यूपीएससी को भी पता है, यूपीएससी ऑल्सो नो बिकॉज दिस थिंग विल बिकम वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर ए एस्पिरेंट, सो दैट्स व्हाई दे आस्क क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम द इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट. सो वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस दिस key natural resources in a very very detailed manner. Now apart from this, we are also going to discuss the factor responsible for the locations of primary, secondary, tertiary sector industries. So you know, industries is a very very important one. This industry is a very very important topic. In from last 4 to 5 years, UPSC is asking the question from the industries also. So be ready with your answer. For example, if there is a questions comes in the mains paper, so you have some ready-made answer. You have to some 3 or 4 lines ready-made answer regarding this industries. So we are going to discuss these topics in a very very detailed manner. Fine. So key natural resources, industries, we are going to discuss. Now how many types of the natural resources are there? You know very well. We have the industrial resources, we have the mineral resources, we have the energy resources, we have the food resources, and can I say we people are also the resources. So we are the human resources. So we are going to discuss all the resources in a very very detailed manner. Industrial resources, mineral resources, energy resources, food resources, human resources. Agree? Now the next topic is nothing but the iron and steel industry. So UPSC can ask a very very simple question. You have to comment whether this iron and steel industry is raw material based industry, this is raw material based industry, or market based industry, Now do one thing, just stop this video and just tell me the answer whether this iron or steel industry is raw material based industry or this is a market based industry. So just pause this video and think and then comment below this video. Fine. Now let us discuss this iron and steel industry. Suppose you want to produce 1 kg of iron or 1 kg of steel. You want to produce this. Okay? Now to produce 1 kg of iron or 1 kg of steel, what is the main requirement? Main requirement is 2 things. For example, you need iron ore, and second is nothing but your energy resource, that is coal. So you need 2 things. One is the coal and second is the iron ore. So how much is the requirement? For example, I'm just taking one example. Suppose to produce 1 kg of steel or 1 kg of iron, 5 kg of iron ore is required and 5 kg of coal is required. Now suppose this industry is a market based industry. Suppose this industry is a market based industry. So what will happen? You are going to transport this 5 kg here and you are going to transport this 5 kg here, then you will convert this 5 kg and 5 kg into the finishing good. Now what will happen? This extra 10 kg, what will happen? It will leads to the more transportation cost. So what will happen? Your industry may go into the loss. So what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss this, that this we will set up a industry near the raw material. We will set up a industry near the raw material found, and then we convert, or then we send the finishing good of 1 kg to the, market. So remember my dear friend, this iron or steel industries are nothing but they are the raw material based industry. So remember, these are nothing but raw material based industry, and these industry are nothing but the backbone of all the industry. If you want to set up any other industry, so what is the main raw material required? Either you required iron or either you required the steel. So this is the very very important. So remember, iron and steel industry are nothing but raw material based industry. These are the raw material based industry. Remember this one. So these are the few points that iron and steel industries are famously known as the feeder of all other industry, known as the feeder of all other industry. The product of these industries are used as a raw material in other industry. Yes, this is also correct. Raw material in other industry. And you know what is the basic material required in all other industry is nothing but your iron and steel industry. So these are the very, very important ones. So UPSC may ask the question regarding the iron and steel industry. So in the coming lectures, I am going to discuss the industry. Which industry? Steel industry. Which industry? Iron industry. And especially, which industry, my dear friend? Raw material based industry. Which industry, my dear friend? Raw material based industry. Which industry, my dear friend? Raw material based industry. Which industry, my dear friend? Raw material based industry. Which industry, my dear friend? Raw material based industry. Either UPSC will ask this question in prelims or they will ask this question in the mains. So be ready with some example. For example, agro based industry is an example of the raw material based industry. Second example is mineral based industry. What is the third example? Marine based industry. What is the fourth example? Forest based industry. So you have to remember all the examples. For example, in agro based industry, this industry use plants. Animal based products as their raw material. Example is food processing, vegetable oil. You know, last year UPSC asked question from the palm oil, PALMOIL. So I discussed that question also. Why UPSC asked? Because this comes under this topic. So food processing, vegetable oil, cotton textile, dairy products, and the leather industries. So these things we are going to discuss in a detailed manner. Similarly, the mineral based industries. So mineral based industries are based on mining and use the mineral ore as a raw material. Next one is, my dear friend, is the marine based industry. Marine based industry use raw material from the sea or ocean. Example is fish oil. Now what about the last one? The forest based industry. For example, you want to make or you want to use furniture. So from furniture comes from which industry? That is a forest based industry. And remember, my dear friend, this is nothing but your raw material based industry. Agree? So this industry is nothing but your raw material based industry. So remember, these are the examples: agro based industry, mineral based industry, marine based industry, and the forest based industry. So if you study in such a way, so your mains paper will be ready and prelims paper will be ready. Fine, agree? So I am going to discuss in a very detailed manner. Now there is a one topic, infrastructure. There is one topic, that is infrastructure. So when you study the infrastructure, for example, you know this area is a cotton producing area. This area is a coal producing area. This is coal producing area and this is cotton producing area. So you will find a common highway. Which connects these two areas. So I'm going to discuss these things in which topic? Infrastructure. So do not worry, infrastructure topic will be covered by me. And how many states are covering from this national highway? That is your Gujarat, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal. You know what is the west end? West end is nothing but your Gujarat. What is the east end? Is nothing but your West Bengal. Now we have to also study the industries which are available, which are set up in Gujarat. We have to also study the industries in Maharashtra. We have to also study the industry in Chhattisgarh. We have to also study the industry in Odisha. We have to also study the industry in Jharkhand. We have to also study the industry in the West Bengal. So if you study in such a way, so your mains paper will be ready. When you sit in the examination, you will write a question in either 150 words or in 250 words. because infrastructure, my dear friend, or industry, infrastructure or industry, remember my dear friend, infrastructure or industry are the very important one. Maximum of the aspirants are not covering this infrastructure and industry topics, so that's why they are unable to clear the mains paper. So just trust on me, just believe on me, I will cover the infrastructure part also, and I will also cover the industry part also. Fine. Now let us move to the next part of the syllabus. Now when you see the next part, in the next part you will find the important geophysical phenomena. Now what are the important geophysical phenomena you will find generally in the current affairs? For example, earthquake, very frequent, tsunamis, volcanic activity, cyclones. So these things we are going to discuss in a very detailed manner. Agree? So this is mentioned in your syllabus. Now what is the last part? In last part we have to discuss about the pollution. What are the changes in that is the geographical feature and their locations, changes in critical geographical features including water bodies and polar ice caps, and in flora and fauna and the effect of the such changes. Fine. So these are the, I divide the whole syllabus of the mains paper of the geography in 4 parts. So I discuss all the parts one by one. Now after this we are going to start with the geomorphology part, and before geomorphology we are having this agriculture. If you see 2022 paper, 2021, 2020 paper, you will find some schemes which are related to agriculture. From last 2 to 3 years, UPSC is asking more questions regarding the agriculture. You can cover up these schemes. You can cover up these schemes in economics. Current affair you can cover up from the economics. But what is the basic things of the agriculture? I am going to discuss. For example, the irrigation. Irrigation system. For example, storage, transport, marketing of the agriculture produce, and similarly the very important one is nothing but your e-technology in the aid of the farmer. You know there is a online mandi also, there is a website also, eNaam. You just search on a Google eNaam. So I am also going to discuss the current affair topic of this agriculture part also. So agriculture, export, processing zones, industries, infrastructure, disaster management, ecology, environment. So if we study in such a way, that we can easily solve 20 to 25 questions, we can easily solve 20 to 25 questions in prelims paper. And you know very well, my dear friend, each question comes of 2 marks, so 50 marks we can score very easily. 50 marks we can score very easily. Maximum of the aspirants are unable to solve the prelims questions of the ecology and environment, but I have taken last year so many batches of the ecology and environment, and maximum student attempt 90% of the paper of ecology and environment. 90%. You know, it's a UPSC paper. You do not have to attempt all the questions, but you have to attempt the maximum number of questions. So from last year or this year also, my students score 90% of the questions of the ecology and environment. How they are able to cover up? Because I make a separate playlist for the current affair. Current affair is very important. Now, one more thing I am also going to discuss. Now you have to study first syllabus. You have to first study the syllabus in detail. Now after that you have to revise my class notes at least 50 times. You have to revise my class notes at least 50 times. Then I will make a separate playlist for prelims, separate playlist for MCQ question for prelims and as well as for mains. So you will find separate playlist. So I will provide you separate playlist. Now apart from this, I am also going to give you the access of previous year questions paper from 2013 to 2022. 2013 to 2022, and after that you have to attempt the test series. You have to attempt the test series. So this test series will also be provided by me. And do not worry, my dear friend, I am also tell you there are some coachings which are conducting open test. So I will tell you which coaching institute is having a good number of questions in the open test. So I will tell you, you can join this open test. Sometimes they will ask money 200, 500 or 1000 rupees. So do not worry, just pay that amount and please join at least 3 to 4 coaching institute test series. Fine. So if we study in such a way, so you can score very easily 80 to 90% question of the geography and 80 to 90% question of the ecology and environment. Fine. Now, after that we are going to start with our first topic, that is geomorphology. As you know very well, geomorphology is a very important part of our geography. Geomorphology has basically two parts. One is the theory part and second is the application part. So my dear friend, there are basically 3 important theory if I am going to talk about. So what are these 3 important theory? Just remember the names. CPS. The first one is nothing but continental drift theory. What is the name of the first one? The name of the first one is nothing but continental drift theory. What is the name of the second one? Plate tectonics theory. And the third one is nothing but sea floor spreading theory. So all these 3 theories we are going to discuss in a detailed manner. Now, you know our earth is flat, not exactly rounded in shape. So this is our beautiful earth is. Now there are continents on the earth. For example, this is one continent, this is another continent, and this is another continent. So there are numerous continents on the earth, and you will find some water body also. So this is one water body, this is also another water body, this is also another water body. So can I say the study of this landform is known as geomorphology. The study of this land form is known as geomorphology. And what is this water body? This water body is nothing but oceans. So can I say the study of this water body is known as the oceanography. So there will be a envelope of gases which surrounded the earth, and the study of this comes under the climatology. So I am going to discuss with geomorphology, then I will teach you the oceanography, and after oceanography I will teach you the climatology. So do not ask me question regarding the longitude and the latitude, because these things I am not going to discuss in the starting of the geomorphology. These things I am going to discuss in the climatology. So be ready for that one. Now, if someone asks you in one line, what do you mean by the geomorphology? If someone asks you in the interview, what do you mean by the geomorphology? So you must know what is the meaning of geomorphology, or what is the definition of geomorphology. So can I say geomorphology is nothing but it is basically study of landforms. Can I say it is study of landforms, their processes, comma, forms, 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 and sediments at the surface of earth. So this is the basically definition of geomorphology. So my dear friend, please be ready with this definition. So maybe this will help in the geography option also, or when you are writing the mains paper na, so this will definitely help you. Now if I ask you, can you tell me when you go inside the earth, what is the radius of the earth? Can you say, tell me what is the radius of the earth? The radius of earth is nothing but 6371 kilometer. So this is how Earth deep is. This is how our Earth deep is. So remember this, the radius of the Earth is 6371 kilometer. Fine. So we are going to start with the geomorphology. But before starting with geomorphology, let us first see the basics of the map. For example, you must know how many continents are there. For example, you know this is North America, then you have South America, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, then you have Australia, and here you have a New Zealand, then you have a Antarctica. Okay, so 7 continents are there. So my dear friend, please remember all this: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and your Antarctica. Agree? Now let us also discuss about the oceans. For example, this is Pacific Ocean, this is Pacific Ocean, this is Atlantic Ocean, this is Indian Ocean, and you know, because Earth is rounded in shape na, so this oceans is also the Pacific Ocean. Agree? Now here we are having the Arctic Ocean, and here we are having the Antarctic Ocean. Fine. So remember all the oceans. Now when you see this Pacific Ocean, it is connected. Pacific Ocean is connected to these two parts. Atlantic is also connected, and remember my dear friend, this Atlantic is somehow S in shape. This is somehow S in shape, Atlantic Ocean. So this is connected, North Pole, South Pole. Pacific Ocean connected, North Pole, South Pole. But Indian Ocean is the only ocean which is half the landmass and half is the ocean. Now I would like to ask you a very simple question. This is Pacific Ocean. It is not on the basis of a name of any country. This is also not on the basis of a name of any country. But this Indian Ocean is the only ocean which is named after the name of a country, that is the India. Can you tell me what is the main reason behind this? Because when you see the map the countries which surrounding the Indian Ocean are the very, very small countries except India. India is the largest country, dominant country. For example, small countries like Yemen, Oman, Somalia, these are the small countries. So who is the major power here? India is the major power here. Now it is the law of the geopolitics law. It is mentioned there. The who control the Indian Ocean, control 80% of the trade. Control 80% of the trade. That's why when you see China is making ports in the Indian Ocean. For example, they are making a port in the Pakistan, Gwadar port, Hambantota in Sri Lanka. They also make port in the Myanmar. They also make port in the Bangladesh. So that's why China want to occupy this Indian Ocean. Why China wants to occupy this Indian Ocean? Because remember my dear friend, the one who control the Indian Ocean is control 80% of the trade. 80% of the world trade. That's why this China is interested in making so many ports. That's why it is known as the China string of pearls. It is known as the China string of pearls. Now, let us back to our map. You know, this is equator. Equator divide our earth in two parts. The upper one is known as the northern hemisphere. The upper one is known as the northern hemisphere, and this is known as the southern hemisphere. Agree? This is known as the southern hemisphere. Now remember my dear friend, when you look at the northern hemisphere, you will find the northern hemisphere is dominated by the landmass. This is dominated by the landmass, and this southern part is dominated by the ocean. Southern part is dominated by the oceans. Now I have a doubt, and you can also reply to my doubt. Though northern hemisphere is dominated by land, यहाँ पे land है, northern hemisphere is dominated by land, but surprisingly the north pole is a water body. Surprisingly, the north pole is a water body, and this southern hemisphere is dominated by ocean, but surprisingly the south pole is a landmass. So you have to give me the answer of this one, because this is very, very important for your geography optional paper. Fine. So you have to give me the answer of this. Why? Because the northern hemisphere is dominated by the landmass, but यहाँ पे what happens? The north pole is surprisingly the water body, and same opposite happens in the southern hemisphere. So there are total 13 countries. 11 are the main countries, and 2 are the island countries. through which this equator is passing. So I already make a short trick for this particular equator passing countries. I have already made video for that one, so I'm not going to discuss much more about that. Fine. Now, so we discuss about the continents. 7 continents are there, so be ready with these answers. These are the basic: Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic, Antarctic. Agree? Now let us proceed further. Fine. Now this is our world map, so I'm going to tell you some of the mountains. For example, in North America you have Rockies, Rockies. This is Rockies. This is Andes of South America. This is Atlas. This is your Alps, and this is your Himalaya. So I told you these are the 5 mountains. First one is the Rockies, second one is your Andes, third one is your Atlas, fourth is your Alps, and the fifth one is your Himalaya. Remember, Rockies, Andes, Atlas, Alps, Himalaya. Remember, my dear friends. So I am telling you, Rockies, the first one is Rockies. Remember, the first one is Rockies, the second one is Andes, the third one is Alps, 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 the fourth one is Atlas, and the fifth one is nothing but Himalaya. Now UPSC already asked question from these mountains. Remember, my dear friend, these all mountains are known as the fold mountains. So they are called by the name of the fold mountains. Now why they are called by the name of the fold mountain? Because they are formed due to the folding of the earth. और क्या fold हुआ है? Earth crust is folded. So these are created due to the forces that comes inside or that comes from the interior of the earth. That's why these Rockies, remember my dear friend, Rockies, Andes, Alps, Atlas, Himalayas, they are called by the name of the fold mountains. So this question may be asked in your prelims paper, that which one of the following mountains are called by the name of the fold mountain. And one another thing, they all are originated in the same period. Or they are originated in the tertiary period, and this is also known as the alpine orogeny. So this is known as the alpine orogeny. What is the meaning of orogeny? Oro means mountain, geny means origin. So this question may be asked in your prelims paper, so be ready with this one. So these are known as the young fold mountains. These are also known as the young fold mountains. So remember, so I give you the example of 5 mountains. What are these? Rockies of North America, Andes of South America, then you have a Atlas, Alps, and Himalaya. Fine. So please ready with this answer. Fine. So Rockies of North America, Andes, then you have a Atlas, then you are having a Alps, and then you are having a Himalaya. Fine. So these are the few basic things you must know before proceeding with the geomorphology. Agree? Now this is all about up to here. In the next video we are going to discuss, or we are going to start with the geomorphology in a detailed manner. Fine. So thank you so much.